Good evening and welcome to tonight's City Council Municipal Authority meeting. It's January 3rd, 2023, 7 p.m. We're in the council chambers here at 12 South 5th Street in the amazing city of Yukon, Oklahoma. Tonight, our invocation will be by Debbie Kaufman from Chisholm Trail Presbyterian Church, right? Followed by our flag salute. If you'd please stand.
Dear Heavenly Father, please guide and direct our footsteps during this year. Help us to do your will in our daily lives. Help us to be good stewards of all that you have blessed us with so we can make Yukon be the best community this 2023 year it can be. We ask this in your name, O Lord. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Selby.
Here.
Wooten.
Here.
Yonda.
Here.
Gilliland.
Here.
Zimmerman.
Here.
All right, do we have any presentations or proclamations?
None this evening, Madam Mayor.
All right. Now it's time for our visitors section. I believe we have one person who signed in, Ms. Shelton.
I just have some exciting things to let you know that are happening in Yukon with
Pam.
the chamber and the city working together.
Pam Shelton.
Yes,
Could you state your name and address for the record,
yes, I
please?
will. Pam Shelton, 400 Frisco Ridge Road, Yukon, Oklahoma.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. All right, we've been working with AAU Track and Field. It is a regional track and field event, and they have announced that they will be here in June, and the contract has been signed. We are currently working with filling the Yukon hotels first, and we know with 2,500 participants, plus parents and aunts and uncles and grandpas and grandmas, we will have more than that attend here. I'll be working with my businesses to obtain sponsors. Restaurants will work with us, and we'll have a lot of things happening. So get ready for that in June of 2023. The Yukon Yuletide Express, which is our Shop Local campaign, was hugely successful this year, I think more than ever. We changed it up a little. We didn't do the red tickets, which was amazing. We didn't have to go collect, I don't know how many thousands of red tickets. But we asked our retail businesses and businesses that had a good or something that they could sell, we asked them to donate $10, $25 gift cards. We went to businesses and gave those out to people, like if we were at Lowe's, we would give a gift card to Sonic. We would flip them around. You would not get a gift card where you were. I would give it to someone, like I gave a mirror to someone. They go, well, where's that? And I said, that's on Main Street. So a lot of people had not even been to the businesses. So we think this is really gonna mix them up a little. We had let's see, 43 businesses that gave us the $25 gift cards. Then we also had a service of 21 businesses that just offered a service and had a QR code. And you could scan the QR code, and then they had services that they offered. And we gave away $500 of gift cards to those businesses, to the winners, when we drew them after they did the QR code. So that kind of mixed them up a little. We did 51 posts in December about this on our Facebook page. It reached 38,000 people, which we're excited about. Out of that 38,000, almost 10% were engaged. They engaged in the Facebook, 21 shares and 566 comments and likes. It automatically also posts to our Instagram. So I was very pleased, and I'm waiting to see how the rate of return on the gift cards are. We will know that. There's one little story I want to tell you about. That someone gave a gift card. They were eating at Slotsky's, and they came in from Woodward, but they were given a gift card to Main Street Marketplace. So they went to Main Street, And the guy wrote on Facebook, and we put their picture in in Facebook. It says, "Thanks so much for the gift card. We enjoy shopping in Yukon, and the great semi-small town atmosphere just adds to the experience. Great job to the Yukon Chamber of Commerce. Merry Christmas." And then Kim from Main Street Marketplace said, "It was nice to meet the two of you," and they said it was nice to meet you as well. So it was a lot of positive, and it just shows that we do have the small town, but we have a lot to offer. So thanks for all the stuff you do to make it better. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we will now recess as Yukon City Council and reconvene as Yukon Municipal Authority. Item 1A, YMA Consent Docket. This item is placed on the agenda so the Yukon Municipal Authority, by unanimous consent, can designate those routine items they wish to be approved by one motion. If an item does not meet with the approval of all authority members, that item will be heard in regular order. The city manager recommends a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of December 20, 2022. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Let's vote, please.
Gilliland,
Yes.
Zimmerman,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Selby,
Yes.
Yonda.
Yes.
We will adjourn as YMA and reconvene as Yukon City Council. Item 1, consent docket. This item is placed on the agenda so the city council, by unanimous consent, can designate those routine items they wish to be approved by one motion. If an item does not meet with the approval of all council members, that item will be heard in regular order. The city manager recommends a motion that will approve A, the minutes of the regular meeting of December 20th, 2022, B, payment of material claims in the amount of $476,656.96, setting the date for the next regular council meeting for January 17th, 2023, 7 p.m. in the council chambers of the Centennial Building, 12 South 5th Street. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Let's vote, please.
Wooten,
Yes.
Zimmerman,
Yes.
Selby,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Gilliland.
Yes.
Are there any reports of boards, commissions, or city officials?
Nothing tonight, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Item 3, consider a motion to approve drainage repair located at Sarah Road and Wagner Road in the amount of $117,615.69 to be reimbursed half the cost, $58,807.85 by Oklahoma City as recommended by the Public Works Director. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Do we know when the half that we'll get back, the reimbursed side of it?
Typically, after we bill Oklahoma City, depending on their billing cycles, it's about 30 to 45 days once we bill them.
Okay, so it's a quick
But it's
turnaround.
on their billing cycle. Mhm.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, let's vote, please.
Yonda,
Yes.
Gilliland,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Zimmerman,
Yes.
Selby,
Yes. Item 4, consider approving ordinance number 1435, an ordinance which provides amendment to the Code of Ordinance of the City of Yukon, Oklahoma, by amending sections 2-266, 2-267, 2-270, and 2-272 of the Code of Ordinances, providing for amendment procedures relating to the purchase of supplies, materials, equipment, or contractual services by setting purchasing thresholds that follow or are more restrictive than the Competitive Bidding Act of 1974 of the State of Oklahoma, requiring competitive bidding, adopting the Public Competitive Bidding Act codified at 61 OS 101 through 138 and declaring an emergency. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? I brought this back up. We changed it from 100 to 75,000 to 50,000. Main reason was because anything under 5,000 we currently have to get quotes for, and it's becoming more and more difficult to get quotes because $5,000, although it sounds like a lot of money to me, is not for businesses, and so they're not wanting to put in the effort for that. Also, 50,000 at least allows us to purchase vehicles like we saw in the past where we had to wait, even though a vehicle was down, we had to wait because we had to bring it in here, even though it had already been approved in the budget. This still keeps an eye on what we're spending. Nothing would be spent except what is already been approved by budget. We would also still see it in the financial reports so that everything is very, very transparent. I've talked to other cities that have raised theirs to 100,000, which is the state limit. But that is why I brought it back up, mainly because of the quotes that we're not getting. So we can't do things because of the $5,000 limit.
How many quotes do they have to get at the 5,000 or at the current limit? Which is like 2, I think.
2,000, and they have to get 3 quotes.
They get 3. So we moved to 5 and they don't have to get any quotes,
That's correct. Anything over
Which-
5,000 they do.
which will actually make it easier for the city to spend money than it is for me to spend an athletic budget, which is much smaller. So, which I can see where there could be call for that and a need for that. But it would be easier to spend money here than in my budget.
Well, it'd be much less time consuming as well and less work on the staff.
This is also something that OMAC brought up when we had them come and talk to us about what we need to do to improve our meetings. And one of them was, why are we approving things that have already been approved because of the constrictions that are here? And so it was, one, to make our meetings more concise and more effective than to spend a lot of time doing paperwork for something that's already been approved. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I know
Um,
you had a question about
yeah.
section 2-266,
Yes.
the wording. You want to?
Yeah, the current section 2-266 states the threshold at $25,000. This version does not have the $50,000 threshold that we've been talking about written in it. And I would want to see that written. And that's what section 2-266 is stating when council approval is required on a budgetary item
So you-
in this meeting.
You'd like to amend that to?
I would like to see the 50,000 in there. And then my question would be, when you go into section 2-267, would you need to add that into part B and part C of that? I'm not sure.
Mr. Reinhardt?
Because currently the 25,000's in all 3 of those pieces for the current,
In the current ordinance?
yes.
I would think anywhere that you wanted that limit placed, it would need to be included in the language of that section.
And that could be done by an amendment. You could
Certainly.
amend the motion.
I mean, it's, physical policy and stuff
Right.
like that is, I like to watch that. And there are checks and balances, nothing, and questioning that's nothing to do with current city government. I feel like I trust what's going on here. But I'm also looking in the future. If we are all doing our jobs right, somebody else someday will be doing these things. And you hope it's somebody of the same character, but you never know down the road. So I just think, personally, I think it'd be nice to amend that and put those in there.
Before we make that amendment, any other, Eric, you had some questions.
Just for clarification, as it sits now, it would just be the maximum limits would be that set by state statute. Is that correct?
No, sir. The state statute is 100,000.
Well, without the limits in the proposed ordinance, the default would be the state statute. Is that right?
It's my understanding that it's 50,000.
It says in there 50,000, but not in that section.
That's what I'm talking about in that section. That's what I'd like to clarify.
Right.
I'm not making a statement. I'm asking a question. So as the current proposed ordinance is written, what is that limit according to the new ordinance?
$50,000. I believe that's correct. So 2-266 says every contract more than the allowed threshold set forth in this ordinance. So that would be above that 50,000 would require. And or in the Competitive Bidding Act shall require the prior approval of the city council. So that would be your threshold, would be the 50.
Okay, which is stated in the next
does-
section.
Does it need to be restated since it says above the threshold?
If you've, it refers to the threshold, then later you set the threshold, so I would not think necessarily you'd have to.
It states later in the
Right.
ordinance.
Yeah, but why wouldn't we state it under when council approval is needed?
I mean, we
Also.
can add that.
You
just-
can certainly add that. 2-270, C4 talks about if the purchase of supplies, materials, and equipment and contractual services over 50,000, then formal competitive bidding procedures shall apply.
Yeah,
So
which
it
I
says-
read is, that's when the competitive bidding goes into effect, not the council approval. Is how I read that when I read through there.
Well, anytime there's competitive bidding, the council has to approve that. You have to approve the bids are presented to you for your approval.
Okay, but right now, where does competitive bidding kick in? Under the current ordinance?
Well, we have to have 3 quotes for anything over $2,000. And anything over 25,000 or over it has to go to competitive bidding.
Okay, currently in this one.
Yes,
What we would like it is to
But-
be 5,000
5,000
and 50.
And
for quotes and then 50,000.
But it says that in another section,
Right.
and that's why they didn't just,
Yeah,
so do we need it to be said again? I mean, if you want to
I
add
would
that.
like it just so it's just that clear.
Okay.
I mean, it would make me feel better.
So we can make that amendment. Anybody else before, because we might need to, do we need to amend anything else?
I'm just on, let's see how to label this. So 2-2722, emergency purchases. I guess what kind of things would we, in an average year, consider an emergent, or maybe a 2 to 5 year time frame? What would you imagine would be?
An emergency purchase, that would be for some type of disaster like an ice storm or a tornado. That's what we're talking about in
Yeah.
an emergency situation.
And there's no, I guess, list of what would be an emergency. With some emergencies we hadn't realized were coming, like COVID, I guess. But you're talking, I mean, that would generally be
We would have to-
catastrophic.
We would have to
Type.
declare an emergency.
Okay.
And so as long as an emergency was declared, then that's when we would have purchases
Okay.
qualified as emergency purchases.
Okay. Good.
And the council would have to vote on that. I mean, the mayor would have to sign the declaration of emergency.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Mr. Wooten?
No, I'm good at the moment.
Donna?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah. I answered the questions I had. So.
Did you want to make an amendment, a motion to make an amendment?
Donna's.
Donna made the motion.
Oh, Donna made, so
Donna
Donna
made
would
the
have to make the amendment?
So amend that it state 50,000 in each ordinance,
Each section.
It's
each section of the
except where it refers to the threshold, you would put
Right.
put in the term $50,000.
I can't.
No, I'm asking, is that okay?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
you want?
yeah.
Okay. So Donna's made a motion to amend it to say $50,000 where it states threshold. Okay, do we need a second on that?
Did we need to reread that? And
No, she made the
okay.
motion. I was
Okay.
asking, we need a second.
I would second that.
Okay, all right. Any discussion now? Let's vote, please.
Selby,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Zimmerman,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Gilliland,
Yes.
Right, item 4A, consider approving the emergency clause of ordinance number 1435. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Let's vote, please.
Zimmerman,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Gilliland,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Selby,
Yes. Item 5, consider a motion to approve the outfitting of 5 police Tahoes by Dana Safety Supply Incorporated using state contract number SW0142 in the amount of $72,378.85 for the lights, sirens, consoles, protective cages, and computer mounts as recommended by the police chief. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Chief, can you tell us what we're doing on this and why we're not in Yukon on this one and whatever you can tell us?
Couple of reasons. We solicited bids for the upfitting of the 5 cars that we received last month. We did that in part because of the issue we had getting the 3 we had received earlier in the year timely put onto the street. It took a good amount of time to get them equipped. It is a large business, upfitting emergency vehicles. And when you're dealing with police cars, it's extremely big business, to the point that there have been at least 2 national companies move into our state, both of which are state contract vendors, and soliciting business from agencies, both state and municipal. We asked 5 companies to do this type of work to give us bids, and asked in their bid that they include what the timeline would be to build these vehicles for us, so that we weren't going to have a large amount of time of them sitting in idle, not being able to be used. So when we did that, we came up with this top bid. It's about $20,000 cheaper in the labor cost, and the time frame is 45 to 60 days for them to have our vehicles outfitted.
So it's 20 grand cheaper.
That's a rough estimate, yes.
Any idea what businesses within Yukon, the timeline for them?
It was 45 to 60 days just for them to get the equipment.
Okay.
And that wasn't guaranteed. That was an estimate, because they're at the mercy of, again, of buying from a second-party provider and having a motor freight shipped here.
Thank you.
That is a no reflection of the businesses here in Yukon. It is just that's at this particular time how they're having to do things.
It's not at all. It is, this is a large, Dana Safety Supply has 37 shops nationwide. They have this shop that they have set up just south of Edmond proper. It's a large upfitting facility. What they do is build emergency vehicles. They don't do anything else. So they have mass inventory, and what they don't have in the Edmond location, they can have motor freighted from Round Rock, Texas, or Tyler, Texas, or Fort Smith, Arkansas. All their personnel are paid on a corporate basis, so they share technicians and installers. The day we visited their facility here, 6 of their installers were in Texas, assisting those regional upfitting locations in building cars for those agencies in Texas. We would get the same courtesy, which is, I'm assuming they will here, because they have a lot of business. A lot of metro agencies are using them for this service.
Thank you. We always prefer to use Yukon businesses, but when it becomes a time issue, then that matters. Let's vote.
Gilliland,
Yes.
Selby,
Yes.
Zimmerman,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Any new business?
None this evening, Madam Mayor.
All right, council discussion. Councilman Gilliland?
Yukon is becoming quite a destination during the holiday season, and if I start making a list of people and organizations, I'll forget some, but the couple that I would mention is our Main Street group and Vicky, and Pam in the chamber, and our city staff and employees have just done a great job. It's a fun place to be during the holidays, so thank you for everybody in town that makes it a great place to be.
All right, Councilman Zimmerman?
Yes, I'd like to kind of piggyback off Mrs. Shelton's announcement earlier. Yukon High School this May, the second Friday and Saturday in May, will be hosting the 5A, 6A state track meet, bringing in participants from the 32 6A schools and I think 72 5A schools to compete over those 2 days. So we're real excited to have that back.
Okay. Councilman Wooten?
School is back in session, so be careful of the kids in the morning and the afternoons. Watch out for those flashing lights so everybody's safe. And Happy New Year to everyone.
Councilwoman Yonda.
Well, I kind of want to just further state what Eric said. Yukon did an awesome job of promoting our city through the holidays, and it's a combined effort of our city, our chamber, our Main Street, our businesses, and I just want to thank all those that put forth the effort to do such an awesome job. Thank you.
Right, couple of updates. The Daddy-Daughter Dance is going to be Saturday, January 28th. 3 p.m. to 4:30 is ages 4 through 8. 5 to 6:30 is again ages 4 through 8. We have a lot of little girls for that. 7 to 8:30 is ages 9 through 12. It's at the Dale Robertson Center. Also, the Chocolate Festival is back February the 4th, 1 to 3 p.m. at the Dale Robertson Center. There'll be over 20 chocolate booths, so you're going to want to be a part of that and come with a very hungry stomach. I would like to again thank also our city for all that they did. If you're not involved in some organization here in our town, there's all kinds of things to get involved, be a part of this great city. Make the most of your tomorrow. Be kind to one another. This meeting is adjourned.